Well, hello everyone and welcome to Yorkshire Gamer's monthly Wargames update, and here we are in February 2023. I've gone another trip round the sun since the last video, so I'm now in a position where I can retire if I want, so let's have a think about that, shall we, over the next month or so. It's going to be a busy episode. I've done lots and lots this month. There's lots of stuff to do. So we've started off down at the deep end of the table with the latest big ship model, the Bismarck, which we're going to cover a little bit later on. And Dave there, the cameraman, is getting his feet a little bit wet. So, as always, we're going to start with the things that I have painted this month. And as usual, it's back to last month with the work in progress being finished. So, I'll see you shortly. So, here we are with the first of the units I have painted last month, and this was, if you remember, the work in progress, and I've got a couple of bases painted but not based, and a couple of bases work in progress. They were on the mounts that I used, the Pepsi Max bottle tops that I stick stuff to while I'm painting, and here we have the final product. So we've got 16 figures on 4 bases, and the bases are my standard 60 by 50 bases that I use for the Italian Wars. In fact, I use for most of my 28mm stuff. Saves a lot of faffing about when you're ordering from war bases, when you're just ordering one base size. So we'll bring these up to the light, and as always, fail to get them into focus. In fact, we'll give up with that. We will, if the mountain won't come to Mohammed, then we'll move to it ourselves. So there's the commander in his very sporting Adidas like top, emphasis on the like. Lovely faces as always. We saw that base and that base during last month, and in addition I've done this one, Baselstadt canton. So it's these are two bases that will go with pike cantons that fit in with a ubiquitous Swiss pike unit that I can shift the cantons around depending on what I want to represent. So we've got that one, and we've got that one there. Very happy with these. Armour looks the business. It looks shiny but weathered, which is exactly what I like. And this is a bit of a Newcastle United one. Any relation to football kits and my Italian Wars is purely accidental, honestly. So that one's done. Let's have a look at the next one. So we're staying down the shallow end of the table for the second unit painted this month, and this is a unit of 28mm Perry's Miniatures light cavalry box set from slightly earlier than the Italian Wars, but for what I'm using these for, I'm more than happy with how these look. And very nice of the guy to tell me how to paint horses on Facebook. That was lovely of him. I might have done one or two in the past, and I've got a bit of experience, but lovely. Thanks for the comments. Sorry, I'm sneaking. Right, so we have got here 12 figures, again on 60 by 50 bases, but turned round so the 50's at the front. Again, makes for a lot easier ordering with bases if you just have one size. And this is representing a unit of, in inverted commas, light cavalry from the Italian Wars, and you'll notice some figures like this chap at the back here, completely unarmoured, and his mate next to him has got a crash helmet and a skid lid, as they used to be called back in the day when we rode mopeds, and a chest plate. Now that's light for the Italian Wars and heavy for the Napoleonic Wars. What I'm trying to do here is get a mix of armours. I'm trying to represent a unit of the second rank in a lance. So these are the guys who are going to be looking after the main dude. and there'll be another, depending on which lance system you use in 3, 5 or 6, there'll be another person behind this guy with worse armour, probably holding the horse in the background, and if they've got any sense, chewing their way through the rations. So they are designed entirely fictional, before anyone gets the typewriter out. These are the Borgia Light Cavalry, I have dubbed them as, and basically it's based around, obviously, if you know my Italian Wars Army, I have a lot of Borgia in my early Italian stuff, and this flag here is the Borgia family motto, and I never had an opportunity to use this particular flag. I've used the other flags from Pete's Flags, and this one sits at the top of the sheet that you buy, and I've never had an opportunity to use it, so I thought, I know what, light cavalry. So what I've done is I've used the orangey red and the yellow of that particular flag as a cue for my uniform, very much in inverted commas for these. Colour palettes, probably the better way of describing it. And then there's a picture that shows the honour guard of the Duke of Valentois. Apologies for the... I do French, do Italian, do Spanish, do it all here. All very badly. It's a picture, I don't know where it comes from, it's from Robbie Rodgers' website, and it's got a similar sort of theme to it. So these are like a Borgia Guard backup. Now, I want you to draw your attention to these guys, and I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. Apologies for shaky cam as we do so. And it's this guy here to this guy here. Now, it was quite the fashion for Italians to put like a donut shape around their head to obviously not to protect themselves. It's a fashion thing, isn't it? It's Italy at the end of the day. These are the guys who have brought us so many fantastic fashion lines, and it's obviously bleeded over into the fighting side of things. So can you say you've been to war if you haven't been to a war with a giant orange donut on your head with yellow sprinkles? I think the answer to that's no, to be honest. But there we go. So that's the shallow end. Let's get down the deep end, because we've got loads of stuff to go through this month. Here we are. We are down the deep end of the table now. This is the wet end, and I'm going to go from small to big, I think is the easiest way to do it this month, because I've got lots and lots of stuff to go through. And the first ship you can see is a Hunt class destroyer escort, and this is from a company called IBG Models in Poland, and I've got quite a few of their kits to go through, so I'll probably do a review of them after I've built another one of these. And you can see, if we come up close, let's see how we can do with our going a little bit digitised there, but you can see we've got railings, we've got bits of photo etch, we've got all sorts of ladders and stuff, and this was my first ever dive into photo etch, and I can definitely say from this model that it does add wonderfully to the look, but it's a right pain in the backside. So what I've learnt from doing this is I'm painting the photo etch on the little sheet it comes on, cutting it out, sticking it down with special photo etch glue, and then just dabbing paint on the bits where the metal's shown through. I found it an absolute nightmare to try and paint it off the little etch sprue that you get. So there we go. So HMS Middleton, to give it a little twirl, Anthea, very, very nice looking ship. Very, very small, and I'll do a little bit of a comparison later on with one of the larger ships. This isn't the camo scheme, colour scheme that is on the box front. I wasn't 100% sure with the blue they'd got on there, so I just went with a more simple shark face earlier version, which I think I found it in one of Mal Wright's books, which I'm going to do a review of very shortly. So there we go, there's HMS Middleton. That's the first ship of the month. We'll see that in a little while when we compare that to the big stuff I've done. Ship number 2 is this one, and you may have seen the Liberty ship I did last month. This is, it's not the same kit, this one is a kit of SS Jeremiah O'Brien, although I have chosen to name it Kermit Roosevelt. Now, I'm sure to some Americans that's a very serious name, and I do appreciate that, but it did make me laugh. So this is Kermit. I should have painted it green, obviously, but there we go. No disrespect to the Roosevelt family. Did a cracking job in World War II. Well done, everyone. So this is in a dazzle camouflage scheme. I can't remember, MS2311F, I think, for you pendants out there. And I just wanted something different to the straight grey. I could do everything in grey and everyone would be really happy, but I like something different and something exciting that I can get my teeth into when I'm modelling it. So boom's extended, as we spoke about last month, and it's a black, a dark and a light grey colours. There's no name decals on this. This comes with the Jeremiah O'Brien name decals. It's something I need to sort out. It's a bit of a pain because the decals are white, so it makes them a little bit harder to do. And with the colour changes on this, the decals just wouldn't work anyway. So no figures on this one, but I think it's been... I say that because I've done it myself, haven't I? I'm not going to say it's rubbish. So I think I've got some subtle-ish weathering on there. You know, these Liberty ships are trouncing up and down the Atlantic, and they're not going to be clean as, are they? But I'm happy with that. So that's another 2 ships to my convoy. Might need a few more, but I'm going. I'm on the run with it. I've got 2 more in the stash to build, and I'll probably buy another 4 in a couple of months' time. Moving up the food chain now, and this is a trumpeter model, and it is Z21 Wilhelm Heidkamp. And Wilhelm was, if you didn't know, Wilhelm was the chap who flooded the magazines on SMS Seydlitz when a German shell hit it, and if he hadn't done that, it would have done exactly the same as a British battle cruisers, and the Germans learnt a lot from that event that maybe we didn't when we had ships blowing up. We did later on, but not at that initial time. So it's named after him, and this ship was lost quite early in the war. It was one of the ships that were torpedoed in the harbour at Narvik in 1940, and hence it's just got a very, very plain light grey or silver grey, I can't remember which one it is, colour scheme. No fancy dazzle camouflage or anything. Look down on the top of the deck, which I've not really done with these ships. We've got wood deck round the bridge and dark grey deck all over, which I've weathered and washed and dry brushed to try and bring it to life, which is what I'm trying to do with these ships after all. So this is quite a basic paint job really, there's not much going on, but I think because of that you kind of, I'm just zooming a little bit on this just to try and give you a bit of detail. There we go. I think it's a nice look. It's clean, but we've got that little bit of weathering on there that's making us feel like it's alive. And of course, the sea, which I'm absolutely over the moon with how the sea's coming out on these ships. Photo etch parts. If you can just see here, that the bits around the mast and the platform where the searchlight is on. There's some photo etch down here. You can't really tell. You can when you're looking closely. You know, if we come in here and we look at the top, those covers over the chimneys, exhaust chimneys, stacks are photo etch, and they do look the business. And I think with these trumpeter kits anyway, you're getting a little bit more detail with the plastic anyway. If you look at you can see all the doors and ladders and everything around the bridge, which are all moulded onto plastic and come out brilliantly with a bit of a panel wash. So that is Z21 of my German destroyers. Very happy with that one. Let's go bigger. Yeah, we've definitely gone bigger. This is Tamiya 1/700 scale Prince of Wales, and I've painted it up in the dark Admiralty grey with wood decks that it would have had at the time of the Battle of the Denmark Strait. So it sits nicely alongside the hood that you may have seen that I built some time ago. Little bit disappointed with this kit. It's on the sprues, it's from 1975, and there really is a lack of detail on it. It's very, very basic. We've got some doors and stuff down here, but if you actually look closely, there's no doors on the main deck. So how people got in to the superstructure, I have got no idea. But there we go. No photo etch on this. Very, very, very basic. Again, if we're looking here, there's no detail at all on the sides of that. Very little on the ship itself. I've done a very light weathering on this that you can probably just see. I didn't want to go over the top with it. It's the C. I'm very happy with the C on this one. I think it looks the business. Really happy with that. And the decks, I love how these are coming out with the wash. A little bit yellower, as we spoke about before. Some people, they like to see a really whitish deck, and I just don't think it looks very good. It might be realistic, but there we go. And there's a look down the side of the ship, and just move that out to the extremities just to have a look at. The main turrets do turn just, but they, oh no they don't. I nearly broke them then. I forgot, this kit's so old that it hasn't got the little rubber bungs in that you would use on later ships that do allow you to turn the turrets. So I might need a sign on this that says don't turn the turrets, because I nearly broke them off then. But there we go. That is Prince of Wales, and lovely. So obviously I've got some more ships, haven't I, that I need for Denmark Strait. So here we have it. Here's the big ship, and I have to say I am so happy with how this has come out. This is a Revel kit that is not waterline. I've got the hacksaw out and cut the bottom of it off. Hence the extra water foam around the base of the ship, so that you can't tell that I messed it up when I bought it. Answer a very quick point that has been coming at loads. I thought I'd get more grief if I put swastikas on this, but I've got loads and loads of grief because I haven't got swastikas on. So here's the crack. Don't put anything in the comments. This is a kit that's sold by Revel. Revel are based in Germany, and Germany have a little bit of an issue with the swastika for not surprising reasons, and they don't put it in the kit. I have an opposite opinion, or slightly opposite opinion, in that I'm more than happy with any symbol, and I mean any symbol, that is historically accurate on an historically based model that is shown from a specific point in time. And I'm old enough, daft enough and stupid enough to know that I'm not promoting some horrific political ideology by putting a symbol on a vehicle that was on that vehicle at the time. Don't have an issue with it at all. With this, that symbol wasn't available, and as you can imagine, I don't want to type massive supply of swastikas into Google at work, because I might not be working anymore. So I'm trying to get hold of some. I might end up printing one myself. I am building Prince Eugen at the moment, and that comes with no decals at all. So I've sent off to Germany, would you believe, of all places, that has a decal sheet for Prince Eugen. And that does have the swastikas on the end, but what they've done to get round the ban is they've split them in half on the decal sheet, so you just put them together. So I don't know where I might get. They might come from an aircraft kit or something like that. I'm trying to avoid. They do a full decal kit at this place in Germany, and it's like £6 or £7. Do I want to spend that just for 2 decals? I don't know. There are parts of the war when the swastikas were painted over, so I could do it that way, but I want it to look like the Bismarck and everyone. I had a model when I was a kid that was a die-cast model. I'd love to know where it came from. And it had little wheels on the bottom, and it was really detailed as well. And it had this scheme on it, so that's why I've gone for this scheme. So as you can see, if you've not watched the videos that I've done a very comprehensive set of 9 videos that follow the build of this ship if you're interested in it, and I'd like you to be interested because it's the worst performing video I have ever done. The black and white stripes are on the hull only. There's like a transition period from the full Baltic scheme to the Baltic painted over scheme that was at when it fought against Hood and Prince of Wales. So I've done this because I'm lazy and I didn't want to do the black and white stripes up the hull, and I found an historic version where they were just on the main hull and not on the superstructure. So this is me being lazy, but I am so happy with how this has come out. Really couldn't say any more than that, and when it looks better when we get closer into it, because you can see the pin washes on the turrets, how it brings the detail out. Looking forward to getting this on the table. So I'm just going to zoom out so I can get it in the entirety of the picture. So there we go. There is HMS Bismarck. If you remember, about 10 minutes ago we did HMS Middleton. So just to show you the difference in size, here is HMS Middleton in front of Bismarck. Now, just to give you a bit of an idea of scale, here's a 28mm figure. There's Dave the cameraman, just to give you an idea of size. The base for the Bismarck is 42 centimetres by 10. The base for Middleton is 22 centimetres by 6, which are my standard basing sizes for classes of ships. So there you go. That's the deep end this month. I've got more ships on the go as we speak. We'll see shortly in Twerk in Progress. But I've pumped some stuff out this month. Oh, hang on. I've forgotten about this. Let's see if we get... This is... There was 2 aircraft on the sprue with... on the Bismarck, and put one on the deck on the catapult, and I've done one like this on a little sea base. This is a 28mm Pike. Wonder what I've used those for in the past. Got a few of them lying around, and I've just stuck the Arado seaplane. Let's try and bring it in and get it into focus. On top of that, and I think that'll be quite useful for spotter playing in games, and I'm going to use this technique for stuff when I do carrier based planes. So there we go, that's what I've painted this month. Let's have a look at Twerk in Progress. Here we are with Twerk in Progress, and this is a German destroyer, Z25 from 1944. It's a little bit late for what I'm after. So I might try and sell this and just see how it goes, because one of the things with my potential retirement is I will need to top my pension up a little bit, and painting and maybe doing a little bit of commission work might be something that I do, but it's got to be at the right price. I'm not doing it for peanuts and next to nothing money. So I might sell this, put it up at a price I think is right, and see if anyone else agrees. So there we go. So we've got, this is at the this is at quite a progressed stage. So if you've watched the Bismarck videos, you'll know how I do this, and I'm going to do a shorter video for one of the smaller ships probably this month. So here's a wooden base with the name on. I've sculpted the terrain on, I've painted it dark blue, and I've put the waterline base on there for the ship, so I'm not messing about with blue paint around the side of the hull. Everything gets painted in little sections. So this has got to be dry brushed and got the seafoam put on yet, so this is a long way off completion, but that's how I start the bases. And then I build the kits in little sections, and I mount them on the clout nails with a little bit of blue tack on top. It helps to move them around when I'm dry brushing, and I do get most of it on my hand, as you can see there. But some of it does go onto the kit, and as you can see here, we've got the hull, and it was running out there. Does my head in this thing? So there we go with the hull. The primer was running out, and I thought I'm not going to bother for that tiny little bit. It's got some coverage on, and once we get the colour of the ship on, we are not going to notice. So these are the let's get a little bit. Let's get this one. So these are the clout nails that I was talking about, and this is the bridge deck. I've stuck on the various little items. There's a couple of AA guns on there, and what have you. And this will get painted on here, and then I will fit. Once it's all painted and all weathered, then I will build the ship up from the painted pieces. So if we look at this piece here, it's so much easier to spray that. It's going to be a plain grey ship again for this particular one, and put washes and details on and do the wipe off method with the enamels that is on the Bismarck video to clean all this up without getting in and ruining all the stuff you've done on the deck or anything lower than this in the superstructure. So that's how I work on these. And the photo etch as well, I've started now. After the first effort into photo etching, I paint them on the sprue. So these are just undercoated, and I'm just going to do the grey or whatever colour I'm going to do with them on top of there, and then I'll cut them out and then stick them on to the model, and then just dab over the tiny little bits of copper or whatever, bronze, brass, whatever it is, on the model. So this you will see next month. It's very similar to the Z21 that we saw, but this is a later version with the Barber anti-aircraft upgrade on it, or downgrade depending on your point of view. So that's work in progress. Let's go and have a look how much we've spent this month. How much? Well, it's been a busy month, and we spent a load of money as well. I think with this potential retirement coming up, I think I've got loads of money. I'll spend it now because I'll be a right tight git if I do retire, because I won't have as much money. So I sent off to who did I get these from? E-Models. I got these from rather than King Kit. It's just because King Kit didn't have one of the models I particularly wanted. So it's E-Models Limited, Unit 4, Mossfield Road, Stoke-on-Trent. There we go, give them a plug. Very good service, never had any problems with them. A bit faceless, but you order a kit from them and they send it to you straight away, so what more do you want? So let's have a look at the kits we've bought this month. We've got HMS Calcutta, which is a light cruiser, and if you can see their size of ship wise, I shall dip over and get a destroyer. So here's a destroyer in comparison. So this is a cruiser, so this will go on a cruiser size base, which is going to be in between the 42 and 10 and the 22 and 6. So a cruiser base, heavy and light cruisers are going to be on 32 by 8, and God willing, everything will fit on there. So I'll probably do a proper review of these. I just wanted to show you the size of a light cruiser in comparison to the destroyers that we have been looking at previously. Let's put that to one side. Then you'll be seeing a lot of these in due course. This is a Z7, the 1936 German destroyer with 4.7 inch or 4.9 inch, more nearly 5 inch, but the Germans working in French money, who would think? So I think I need 5 of these for Narvik. So there's one. And there's another. So very similar to the Z21 that you saw earlier on. You get a little bit of photo etching with them as well. So looking forward to getting those together. And then I've got a little bit for Narvik. I need 4 tribal class cruisers to escort HMS Warspite when it comes in, and 5 H-class destroyers as well for the Brits. So I'm building up my tribals. I've got HMS Zulu here. Trumpet to do 4 or 5 different versions of the tribal, and I think it was Bedouin, Eskimo. I can't remember off the top of my head the 4 that were there, but I'm going to build those tribals up as the ships that were at Narvik. So there's HMS Zulu, and then finally I'm going to build this in honour of my friends over the water in Canada, the Canadian Wargames. This will be their ship on the table if they ever come to the UK. So I shall paint this up in honour of all the Canadian servicemen and women who have helped with the British Army over many years of being together as part of, dare I say that word, empire, and as a long-term friendship ever since. So that's going to be my little nod to Canada when I paint that one. So that's the models I've bought this month, and I'll be back shortly with some metal. So there'll be a bit of rustling in the background as I bring these out, but many of you will know Dave Thomas, and he brings the Perry stuff to the world at Wargames show. So I saw him at York and annoyed him immensely by just tipping everything that was pike based and metal off his stand at 10:05. So there was nothing for anyone else to buy. And then I sent loads of friends up to ask him if he'd got any metal Italian Wars. So if you're watching Dave, sorry mate, I was having a laugh. But there we go. So I've got lots of plastic stuff, and I've just bought everything that Dave had. So the metal stuff tends to go at the front of my pike blocks with the angled pike. So this is kind of a 15% pike. Then we've got this one. That's another advancing EA2. You obviously had 2 of those. Then EA14, which is the Italian Foot Command, which is an essential set to have of the Perry stuff. Then we've got some heavy infantry. I'll stick those around the flags within the pike block. Then we've got helmeted halberdiers pike attacking. That's the lances down on the ground, levelled. Look, one of them. Some oval Italian shields for some Italian spearmen that I build out of the Perry's plastic mercenary set, and also arms from French medieval infantry. And another one there. So 24 will do me a unit. So there's enough shields there for a couple of units of spearmen. Then we've got another attacking. So that's another levelled pike. So there's 12. And what else have we got in our magic bag? Another foot command. And finally, another advancing EA2. So that's all he had on his stand, so I just emptied it. So a couple of other bits and pieces to look at and have a chat about. I've also dipped into a bit of terrain at the York show as well, so I picked up one of these. This is from Streets of Rome. Don't worry, I'm not going to start skirmishing gangs of Rome, but it's these grapevine trellises that I'm after. Go try these. There were lots of great vineyards on the Mentana battlefield, so I'm looking at using these as a potential to build up some terrain for that. So it'll be a while before I do anything with that, but I thought I'd pick one up as a go. And then it's not often you can say you've inspired something, but I was having a lovely chat with the owner of Early War Miniatures. He's going to come on the podcast in the future, and this little yard with a toilet was inspired by Brews in the Bin Yard, and just to go with it, we've got some bins as well. So Brews in the Bin Yard, if you don't know, is the little side podcast I do a couple of times a year with Alex Sutherland from Storm of Steel and Sean Clark, formerly of God's Own Scale, and they're great lads, and we have a right laugh on there. So it's wonderful to see that this bit of kit has been built in our honour, and thanks very much to the owner of Early War Miniatures. I look forward to speaking to you on the podcast very, very soon. I'm trying to get my terrain on at the moment, if you know what I mean. So I want to build something spectacular for Mentana, and also I've got this germ of an idea for the Narvik project as well. So I want to build a big Narvik town. I'm going to have, little bits of terrain on the edge of the table representing the edges of the fjords. I think it's going to look the business. And of course, 1/700 scale ship, so it's going to be massive. So I need to get my terrain on because I don't know anyone who makes really, really nice terrain. And I'm kind of doing all the stuff on my own for projects and whatever. So I need to sort something out, get my finger out when it comes to terrain. So I've been on the Geek Gaming Scenics stuff, and I bought some Matte Scenic sealant spray. I've watched a couple of I can't remember the guy's name now, I'm sorry, the Geek Gaming videos. Very good, very instructive. Their products are a little bit more expensive, but the guy's trying to earn a living, so I really got a problem with it at all. So I bought that to go with a couple of these, and these are very nice. These kind of ready to base materials, they're called. And this one is, you can't see it particularly well through the bag, but I recommend you go on the Geek Gaming site. This is called Mediterranean Soil, and this is the sort of look I want for my Italian stuff. And then I've got this base ready scrublands, and it's a mix of stones and soil and flock, and yeah, you could do it all yourself, but I just wanted little tasters to see what it's like. And then if I'm going to go big into this, you know what I do when I go big, I buy loads of stuff. So they're a couple of taster bags really for me to see how they work. I really, really like the look of that Mediterranean soil. It's the absolute business and perfect for the vineyards that we just saw. And I had a trip down to the local railway shop as well, Frisingall Models, and I've bought some various bits of scatter. I've got some dark earth. I've got some dark brown. These are I'm gonna spruce my, oh, I've moved the camera. I'm gonna spruce my trenches up is what I'm planning on doing. And then I've got some static grass. Gonna need to work out what the hell to do with those static grass applicator things. And kind of a summer alpine grass as well, with these little flecks of wood in, and ubiquitous bit of Mod Podge. So that's me entering the world of scenics. When I get more time, if I get more time, I'm going to try a little bit of a dabble with that. So just pause the video for a second. I'm sorry about this, I've just bought shitloads this month, and there's some paints and stuff I want to talk about as well. So previously I've done virtually all of my varnishing by hand. All my figures are hand varnished, and it works really well. But what I have found with the ships is that it's quite difficult to varnish them once they're complete. And if you've watched the Bismarck videos, you see my technique. I have them gloss varnished, then I weather them, and then I matte varnish them. So they need quite a thorough matte varnishing all over. So I've bought this stuff from Great Escape Games, who were at the York show. A lot of people have recommended the Ultra Matte Winsor & Newton. A bit posh for me, Winsor & Newton. But nobody had it there, and if you live in the UK, you'll know the nightmare that there is with trying to get aerosol cans through the post. So they had this at the shop or the stand, Great Escape Games. So I bought this, and I have to say it's been really, really good. I've I've sprayed a couple of destroyers with it, and really nice matte varnish finish. It gets in everywhere because it's a spray. So I'm not going to change for my figures because I'm used to varnishing stuff with brush sat at the paint table, whereas with this I need to go into the cellar, and because Mrs. Riley doesn't like the smell of this. So brilliant bit of kit, well recommended. I'm going to be using that, and then I bought a load of these. You might have seen my addiction to weathering powders and washes and etc. So Great Escape Games do, I think, the 4.50 each or 5 for 20. So you've got to buy 5, haven't you? You can't, buy a couple. You may as well get another 3. So dark streaking grime for green vehicles. So I've got tanks, I've got all sorts of stuff. I need to get my Curse project back on the go as well. But that I've used that on a couple of ships in a little bit, a few places. And I was watching the Warship Tour of Duty on BBC Two about Queen Elizabeth, and I noticed one of the American. They sailed alongside. I think it was Ronald Reagan. That the amount of green slime and stuff on the waterline was. So I'm going to experiment with that. That was nice. Then we've got this wash for exhausts. I've used that on the Bismarck and a couple of other things. Tiny little application, but it really does give a lovely smoky effect around the stack exhaust. Then we've got another streaking grime, which is an enamel effect for models. This is really nice. This is good. This is the business for the ships. I've got a slightly darker one. I've got a streaking grime for Panzer Grey, which works well on the grey ships, but this is another one. So this, the Panzer Grey and the Rust Streaks are the 3 main ones that I'm using on the ships at the moment. Then we've got a track wash. I've got some tanks to build, as I said, so I won't be putting that on the ships. But when you're looking for a 5th one, it was a good cracky one to get. And then I've got a panel liner for, it's kind of run off, for white and whiter camouflage. And I've been experimenting with this on Z21 that you saw earlier on, and it's a really good panel liner for light grey. The darker panel liner that I've got is it's nice, but you have to do a lot more work with it to get it to look right, whereas this a little bit of a brush off with a cotton bud and jobs are good. So it's been a long video this month because lots have gone on, but that's what I've bought. So let's go and have a look at scores on doors. So it's the monthly look through where we are with various memberships and what have you. Once again, thank you very much to everyone who follows, likes, watches, makes comments on, well, most of you make comments, the nice ones, on Yorkshire Gamer. And so on Facebook, 1807 up 34, very similar on the Twitters, up to 2675. Instagram, plodding along very, very slowly now. 3539 up 10. I'm expecting that to go negative at some stage. YouTube's at 1820. The naval stuff that I've done, build the Bismarck, etc. Very, very, very unpopular. But there we go. Can't please everyone. I'm doing stuff that I enjoy. I think that's the main thing. And podcast, very, very slow growth as usual, up 8. But I haven't put a podcast out in 6 weeks. So one coming up, I recorded yesterday, so that's in the bag, just needs editing, should be out Friday. Facebook group up 97 to 1,131. It used to tell me who had joined each day, and I could do a little welcome post. But since it's gone over 1,000, it doesn't do that. So if you do join the Facebook group, then apologies that I'm not doing individual welcomes anymore. It just doesn't show me who is joining. So welcome one and all if you do come on board. Very friendly group that. We've not had any biting at the moment. There's a bit of a nightmare going on the Naval Wargaming Facebook at the moment, which it's not needed. Yeah, just be friendly and enjoy your gaming. That's what it's all about. That's what Yorkshire Gamer's always been about. although a couple of people have got annoyed over the years. Podcast downloads, I've just added that on now, just for me to keep an eye on, and across the audio and the audio-visual format on YouTube, 63,086 from 38 episodes, which is brilliant. Most of them now get 1,800, 2,000 listens, which is great, absolutely fantastic. It's so much more than I thought it was going to be when I first started it years ago. So thanks for following along. I did 5 in December and I really burnt myself out with that, and I've taken a 6-week break. I'm up and running now. I've got 8 guests lined up, not booked in but lined up. I've got my next 4 booked in, and another 4 I'm waiting to book in. So rosy future for the podcast. I'm coming up with more ideas for podcasts. I'm having an historian on in the next section who doesn't wargame. I've got an absolute legend of the hobby, and I hope that's going to come off. I'm not mentioning names yet, but when it's recorded, then I will announce they're coming on. And the usual mix of people who I think are influential in the hobby and maybe don't appear in the magazines every week. So there's some great stuff coming up. I'm going to be speaking to Martin Kelly. Martin, he's only been back into gaming after a big break for 6 years, but he put some massive participation games on in conventions in the States, and I really wanted to get his take on American shows and how they work and how he approaches putting on those big games where people don't know the rules and maybe don't know the battle, and they're just joining in to have a good time. So great listen, enjoyed that. I'm putting it together as an edit at the moment, and it should be out Friday, like I say. So it's ready for the channel shout out and the review of other Yorkshire Gamer stuff, and we shall be back with the outro after I've done that. So today's channel shout out is for Geek Gaming Scenics, channel I've ignored for quite some time, mostly because I thought it was all fantasy, and it's also one of those where the person who's on it does a little picture of themselves looking like they're struggling to get a poo out, or maybe they're a little bit surprised by something, and I always try and ignore those ones. But I've watched a few, and the lad knows what he's doing with terrain and scenics. And as you saw previously, I have invested in a couple of the things that he makes. So it's well worth getting in there. The Band of Brothers build is an absolutely superb one. So is the Caratan terrain table, well worth a look at. Lots of really good videos, lots of how-to scenic stuff, how to make your own washes, how to make null oil, how to build a table, how to make flock. So although he does sell stuff, he does do videos to enable you to do it yourself. Well worth check out. On my own channel, I've had lots of Build the Bismarck. I've gone from number 6, where as you can see here, I'm doing wood decks and weathering. So if you want to know how I get my wood decks to look like wood, and how I do all the streaking and rust and grime and stuff down the side of the ship, then this is the video that you want to concentrate on. Lots of different techniques on this one, and well worth watch if you're into your weathering. Part 7 then moves on with the build, and it looks at me putting the decals on for this. Obviously the crooked cross is not available with this model, and I'm trying to source one. So if you do have one 1/700th swastika to go front and rear, let me have them. Talk about pin washes, and then we look at building the ship up. We've kind of got our Bismarck looking as good as it's going to now. This video covers the final build, getting all the small bits together, fitting everything in, and making sure that we haven't left any bits in the box, which I have done on occasion. And then finally, in number 9, you get to see the finished ship, but most importantly, you get to see the end of the process of doing the base. And shows you me how I put the seafoam on, how I get it to look realistic, and a few pictures of the finished ship at the end, just to finish off the series.
Continued on the naval theme this month as well, with a unboxing and review of a 1/700 scale Liberty ship, SS John W. Brown, by Trumpeter. And because I've built one of these, I can show you it all made up, all weathered, no extra parts added, no extra detailing. It's all straight from the box, and then I can look in and show you what's in the box and how I've gone about building it. So well worth a watch if you're into starting this. Then on the blog, yep, still got a blog going, a couple of posts this month, and one is around the Naval World War II stuff, lots of still pictures on the convoy stuff and destroyers. And then there's a second post as well covering Bismarck. There's links to all of the YouTube videos of the build, all 9 of them there on that particular post. That's well worth a visit if you're interested in seeing the Bismarck.
So that's it for this month. Just a little bit of a mad idea before I go. I'm looking, if you remember, Saturday Swap Shop. Swap Shop, that one. If you've got one of these, Perry's Miniatures Mercenary European Infantry box set, that you don't want, and you'd like to swap it with me for PSC German Panther tank, 5 vehicles. I think this is more money than the Perry's. If you'd like to do that swap, then let me know, and we can meet up for show. Preferably, if you're in the north of England and you're going to be attending, let's say, Partisan or Hammerhead, then that you would be given priority rather than posting stuff out to people. And likewise, if you have got that box and you would like an SU-76 box, it says 5 there, there's only 4 sprues in it. So I will chuck in a Russian artillery sprue as well. So 5 sprues of 15mm vehicles for a box of 28mm mercenaries. Price-wise, both the plastic tanks are just slightly more. You can get the Perry stuff I've found for 16-17 quid if you know where to go. So if you fancy those and you've got a stalled 28mm medieval or Italian Wars project, then let me know and we'll do a swap. There's a couple of boxes there for a couple of boxes if you're interested. I think that might be a cheaper way than a bring and buy and eBay, etc. So just a mad idea of mine just to see if that works, and if it does, then I might swap some more stuff, all for that bloody Perry's box because I want millions of them. So here we are. Yorkshire TV is filming a new series of the Borgias, and it's going to feature Dave Borgia, the cameraman, and Ernest Borgia, the cavalry commander in the light cavalry. No, it's not, but you know what I mean. So there we go. It's been a long one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you stayed to the end, thank you very much. And I'll see you in March for the next update. Until then, see you.